Hello Sharks, I am Jonathan Little, here today with another video for PokerNews.com, and today we have a doozy. This is from the $10,000 buy-in World Series of Poker event that took place recently on GGPoker. This tournament had something like 650 players in it, and it was won by previous World Series of Poker Golden Bracelet winner, 8 times over, now 9, Eric Seidel. Congrats to him. I think he won it on only one bullet. It was a re-entry tournament. So, huge congrats to him. This hand, though, does not involve him at all. Let's take a look at this mess, where we are playing 100,000, 200,000 blinds with Joaquim in the hijack seat with pocket queens, Francisco in the cutoff with pocket tens with a 20-something big blind stack, and then Klaas in the small blind with pocket jacks with a 45 big blind stack. Joaquim covered him. Let's take a look at how this plays out. It is worth noting here, Isaac Barron, who's been around for forever, is sitting here with 7.5 big blinds. So very shallow stack. There is one very, very shallow stack player at the table. Everyone else is, 20-ish big blinds or more. So Joaquim's obviously going to make a standard raise with pocket queens in the hijack seat. And now I think Francisco has a pretty easy all-in. This is a spot where, if you look at the stacks, Joaquim is the chip leader among the players remaining in the hand, right? I see Eric Seidel is more than him. He's not in the pot anymore, right? So Joaquim should be opening here pretty wide because the players yet to act all have to be somewhat cautious because of Isaac Barron sitting here very, very shallow stacked. So this is a situation where Joaquim should be opening pretty wide. And Francisco's pocket tens are going to be an easy all-in. Trivially easy all-in. So let's see if he goes for it. Don't get fancy and call and try to not run into a better hand. I mean, usually you're just going to get a fold from Joaquim and you're going to move on with your life and collect the pot. Sometimes, though, you're going to get called and you're going to lose. So fine and good. Now, Klaas in the small blind has pocket jacks with 45 big blinds. This is a pretty rough spot, and rougher than you may think it is, because in this scenario, when Joaquim raises and Francisco jams, if Klaas jams, now Joaquim is going to call some portion of the time and bust Klaas before Isaac Barron, right? Sometimes Klaas is going to come in third place in the three-way all-in, and Francisco is going to collect a payout jump as well, right? It's going to result in Klaas busting next. So this is a pretty tough spot with pocket jacks. That said, I do still think it's going to be a reasonable spot to put your money in. It's annoying when you run into Joaquim's big hands, but in this scenario, even Joaquim should probably fold out a hand like ace queen for sure, maybe even ace king offsuit. So it's a spot where you're just gonna have a lot of fold equity, right? Joaquim's very rarely going to call, so I think this is a reasonable spot to shove to. And then after Klaas rips it all in with the jacks, spoiler alert, it gets back around to Joaquim with pocket queens. And he has to figure out what he should do, facing an all-in and an all-in in this scenario, knowing Isaac Barron is very shallow stack, knowing both these players have to fear going out before Isaac Barron. And the question is, what do you do with the pocket queens? You may say, easy all-in, we're against jacks and tens. But realize, Klaas has to have a really good hand here. Like a really good hand. So knowing Klaas must have a really good hand, because realize Klaas is ripping it in for 45 big blinds. This is a lot of chips, right? And he knows he has no fold equity against Francisco, and the amount that Joaquim's put in the pot is already minimal, right? Compared to Francisco's 25 big blind all in. So, keeping that in mind, what do you do at the final table in this scenario with pocket queens? Do you call, or do you fold? I want you to pause the video and write what you would do in the comment section below. All right, tough spot, but fortunately, there's a program that can help us with this. It's called ICMizer. Check it out. I think we have some sort of deal you can get at jonathanlittlepoker.com/ICM. We'll put a link in the description. I've loaded up this scenario. I've put in the payouts. We have a custom payout structure here. It is worth noting the payout structure on GG is relatively flat, which means players should avoid taking any unnecessary risks. So I have our hero here in the hijack seat, raising it up with this range. This may be wrong. Perhaps he's raising even wider. Why, you may say, why wider? Because there are multiple... Well, everybody had to act is pretty short compared to Joaquim, and there is the 7 big blind player in early position who's already folded. You know what? I actually think he's probably going to raise wider than this. But let's presume he's actually going to do something like this. You may say, would you raise every ace-x in the hijack seat? You probably should in this scenario. You should be quite aggressive. So fine, that's what I have him raising. Then, the GTO strategy. Against that strategy is to shove with this range in Francisco's seat. So Francisco, from a GTO point of view, should shove roughly this. Now notice, a lot of these hands here are roughly break even. We're just going to presume he's shoving all of them, though, because I do think that this is a spot where you should be pretty aggressive shoving. Because even though you have a, 20 big blind, 25 big blind stack, you still have to try to win the tournament, try to get hold of chips, right? Also, I do think the hijack seat with the big stack was going to raise a little bit wider than the range I gave him, so I think this range is reasonable. If you wanted to go through here and edit this, you could click Edit, and then just remove all these hands that are, on the cusp of playability. Maybe we'll do that in just a second. All right, then you can click ICMIze, and it will tell you which hands Klaus should go all in with. And it turns out he should go all in with 9s or better and ace-queen and better. That's it. Pretty tight range, like I said, right? And if all of these things are true, which they may not be, we're going to go through and take a look at when they're not, we can see that Joaquim, with pocket queens, should reluctantly call. You make a little bit of money by calling with the pocket queens. It is an edge you should take, but you barely make money. If he had ace-king, he should fold. It's actually an easy fold. Not going to lie. I maybe would have found the hero call with ace-king suited, and I would have lost some money there. Pocket jacks, I think, is a pretty easy fold, but it turns out queens is very close. So the question then becomes, when should you fold the queens? Well, very easily. If you think that when it goes raise, shove, if you think Klaus is not going to call with ace-queen, you can go through here and edit out this range. Maybe he doesn't call with 9s either, which I think is like a very reasonable adjustment. You can go through here and run ICMizer again. It's going to take its time, running a bunch of simulations while you're waiting. We have more YouTube videos where I've gone through and used ICMizer a lot. Make sure you check it out. Just search Jonathan Little ICMizer in the search box on YouTube. It'll come right up. You see now, queens is actually a fold, right? Only aces and kings can profitably call in this scenario. So this queen's fold is actually very, very defensible. Maybe we also think that the 20 big blind stack is not shoving quite as wide. Maybe they actually are folding a lot of these hands on the cusp here, right? Which I think is reasonable. They're not always ripping it in with pocket 3s and queen jack and king 9 suited, right? A lot of people don't shove all those hands. So if he is shoving a little bit tighter, perhaps he also doesn't shove aces and kings. Maybe Min re-raises them or something. Maybe he re-raises these hands small. Maybe he re-raises some of these hands small. Who knows, right? If that's the case, that's also going to change things, right? We can go through and run the simulation again, and you'll see it's going to get even worse, right? Because we have now made one other player's range stronger. I'm actually not even going to run that because that's obvious, right? Let's go back and add in ace-queen and pocket 9s. And I want to see if that, like, this is enough. The fact that just one player has gotten a little bit tighter to this thing functioning properly. Come on, computer. I'm currently upstate with my family on a vacation. Internet is marginal. It's going to take forever to upload this video. Editors can work their magic here.
A few moments later.
And it turns out that, yeah, queens is still barely a call. So the main thing that matters here, the big, I guess, pivot point is, what does the 45 big blind player shove? Are they actually shoving the quote-unquote GTO range of ace-queen and better and pocket 9s and better? If they are not shoving ace-queen, I can tell you that alone. Well, so let's take a look at this. Let's say they're a little bit tighter than normal, or than they should be, which I think is very realistic. If you put me, to be fair, in this player's shoes with ace-queen, I'm just going to fold. It's probably a mistake. But let's take a look at this and see how that changes things if we give this player no ace-queen offsuit, but 9s and better, ace-queen suited, and ace-king.
Many minutes later.
All right, and there you have it. If they do not shove exactly the ace-queen, the queens are basically break-even. 0.13 is like an edge, but it's not a big edge, and it's probably not worth taking in this scenario. So, That's really it, right? How wide is the 45 big blind player shoving? If they are shoving something like this, it's probably okay to fold. If they're shoving ace queen or wider, which would be ridiculous, but if they are shoving wider, then it is a call. So, in this spot, do we think Joaquim made the play of making the strong GTO, well, strong exploitative adjustment based on these relatively flat payouts? Or did he just pop it in there and go for the win? Let's take a look. It's going to give it some thought, because you should be giving it some thought in this scenario. One takeaway from this, by the way, that I'm consistently reminding myself of is that ace-king is just a fold here. Ace-king is just a fold here. Even though you're blocking aces and kings, it's just a fold here because you're basically never dominating your opponent. And if you think about the hands that they are less likely to shove, it's going to be ace-queen, right? Like one of the hands you really dominate. Jacks here is definitely a fold. Queens is close. It's always fun when you get a close spot playing at the final table of a $10,000 tournament. And this is where all of your hard work and study pays off. Will Joaquim make the call? What do you think? If he calls and wins, he has all the chips. Instead, he folds, passes up on the spot. Klaus is in a great spot to have a very, very nice chip stack, to be the chip leader. What's the river card? Jack 6. 6 for Francisco. And Francisco collects the pot. Wild hand, right? Interestingly enough, if Joaquim did get it all in, notice he would have ended up with a 15 million chip stack after the hand anyway. Not that that matters. Don't be results oriented. But this is a spot where I think the queens is probably just a fold, because if anything, I bet Klaus is going to be tighter than nines and better and ace queen, unless Klaus is insane. And I don't know anything about him, but most people at final tables, whenever there's a raise from a big stack, and then an all-in for 25 big blinds and a 7 big blind stack, this is a spot where I think, if anything, people are probably a little bit too tight. And for that reason, I think queens are actually probably a pretty good fold. So that's going to be it for today. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, do me a favor and click the like and subscribe button. Also click the notification bell. Good luck in your games. Have a great week. And I'll talk to you next time. One quick thing before we wrap up today. I'm currently on a trip with my family. This is not my house, not my normal setup, but go figure. Today is the day that we reached 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. It's been a very long journey that started, wow, a long time ago. And know that while this is an amazing milestone, I have no intention to stop making high quality, consistent, educational, marginally entertaining content for all of you. I could not have made this channel what it is without the feedback from all of you. So keep giving it to me. If you have any particular type of video that you love, let me know and I'll make more of it. If there's anything you really, really dislike, let me know that too. I may or may not stop doing it. I'm going to keep being me. But, you know, criticism, especially in the constructive variety, is very, very good. So anyway, thank you very much for helping me reach 100,000 subscribers. And that's it for today. Good luck in your games, have fun, and I will see you in the next video. Yeah, I'm talking to you.